Entrenched Division. This warbond is based on the First World War, and it comes with a great variety of novel items that really fit well with the overall theme. I can tell you right now that I have been really enjoying this warbond, and I can recommend it to most players. But before I get ahead of myself, we're going to get started on page 1. And on page 1, we have the SMG Flam 34 Stoker. This weapon is a combination of an SMG and a flamethrower into one tight package. It does both adequately, but it does neither incredibly. Let's talk about the SMG first. The SMG deals 130 damage per round with light pen, and it has a fire rate of 420 RPM. So it deals good damage per round, but it does fire quite slowly. It can also hold 45 rounds per magazine by default, and it has the ability to upgrade the magazine, like the Defender, for example. In fact, this entire SMG is pretty much a side grade to the Defender in general. You actually end up with more damage per magazine than the Defender, but you just have less fire rate. So really, it's actually not bad as far as light pen SMGs go. But we're not going to forget about that underbarrel flamethrower. This is basically just the crisper slapped onto an SMG, which is actually very useful. This functions a lot like how the 1-2 functions. You can switch to the flamethrower mode, just like you can with the 1-2 in the weapon menu, and being able to use a flamethrower as backup whenever you want is just great. You can cover an area and fire to deny enemies, penetrate heavy armor, and with the new flamethrower buffs, you can even send enemies into a panic and slow them down. This is effectively 2 weapons in 1. If you ever want a flamethrower in your loadout, but you don't want to use up an entire weapon slot for one, then here you go. This lets you get pretty creative with your loadouts and allows you to carry a ton of different ordnance. You can still carry something like a machine gun or a recoilless rifle and still bring a primary gun with a flamethrower. It's kind of incredible. On top of that, you can still take a secondary. It gives you a lot of variety. To be honest, this weapon is not going to be for everyone, but I like it quite a bit, and I can definitely recommend it if you can manage to use light pen primaries. Next up, we have the CPG 45 Sapper armor set. All of the armor sets in this warbond are inspired by old war gear from the First World War. The helmet in this set is very inspired by the old Brodie helmet that the British would wear. The wide brim and the round top make this pretty obvious when you actually compare the two. The rest of the helmet is great too. The face area is very knight-esque, and there is a lot of leather around the back and the sides, and even the visor has the look of some old goggles. The armor itself also fits the theme of the warbond very well. It's basically just a coat with some leather and steel armor attached to it with a very nice belt. This is a medium armor set with 100 armor, and it comes with the Concussive Padding Grenadier passive. This passive provides 50% resistance to explosive damage and increases your throwable capacity by 2. So this passive is basically a hybrid of engineering kit and fortified, just with no recoil buff. This is a really great passive for anyone that plays against the bots because they have so much explosive damage, or anyone that likes to get up close with some big explosives. It pairs very well with the Giga Grenade. You get 2 more grenades, and you can survive the very large explosive radius. But we'll get to the Giga Grenade later. These are 2 solid perks that complement each other very well, and they are just excellent for playing against the bots. This will make it harder for many of the bot enemies to kill you, and having more throwables is very useful against their objectives in particular. This armor set looks great, comes with a totally unique passive, and it's quite good. I can definitely recommend this armor set. Next up, we have the CQC-73 Entrenchment Tool. This is a secondary weapon, although it is less of a weapon and more of a tool. It is a shovel, after all, but in terms of melee damage, it's actually usable. It deals the same damage as the stun lance, and attacks with the same speed as the combat hatchet. So, no, it is not as powerful as a dedicated melee weapon, but it could be a lot worse. But we all know that the real reason to use the entrenchment tool is the ability to dig trenches. This is a really fun thing to do when you're bored of your typical meta loadouts. Digging a trench and facing off against a bunch of bots can be a great time. It's great for people that like to just have some fun, do some role-playing, mess around with your friends. You know, a lot of people will criticize this weapon for not being good enough, and yeah, it's not great, but I'm totally okay with items that are just pure fun, like this, making their way into Warbonds. Not everything needs to be a meta weapon. This is just a neat little item that can bring a lot of fun to some missions when you're bored. Would I ever bring this weapon on Super Helldive? No, I wouldn't. But I would bring this to mess around on lower difficulties, absolutely. It's a lot of fun, and if you're like me and you play Helldivers for fun and immersive, cool combat, then this is something that you might like, and I can recommend it to people that like fun. Now we are moving on to page 2. And on page 2 we have the CPH-26 Commandant armor set. I don't care if I'm pronouncing that word wrong, it's how I'm gonna pronounce it. This armor set is like the sequel to the Parade Commander armor set. It really makes you feel like an officer. There's something about the shape of the helmet that really just sells me on that whole feeling of superiority that you get when you're an officer. And it's not just the hat, the actual face of the helmet just looks that way to me. Maybe it's the weird vent on the front that looks like a mustache. And the body armor itself definitely matches that World War I officer look. It is a really nice coat, complete with small golden decorations and some armor plates for your most important spots. Except for the crotch. This is a light armor set with 50 armor, and it comes with the concussive padding hazmat passive, which has 3 perks. The first perk gives you 50% resistance to explosive damage, which can be pretty handy for a light armor set. The second perk gives you 25% resistance to gas damage, which does fit well with the overall theme of the Warbond. And the final perk reduces your recoil with sidearms by 30%. This is a weird collection of perks, but they're not bad perks for the most part. But I definitely would have rathered sidearm reload speed instead of sidearm recoil reduction. I think that would have made this armor set a lot better, but overall, it's pretty good. This is a great looking armor set with a cool combination of perks, and if that all sounds good to you, then I can definitely recommend this armor set. Next up, we have the G48 Giga Grenade. If you were an assault player back in Battlefield 1, then you're probably already a fan of this grenade. The Giga Grenade is a big boy. When you throw it, it won't go very far because it's so damn heavy, but once it hits something, it will really fuck shit up. On impact, it will explode, dealing 2,000 anti-tank damage in a 2-meter radius, and this damage will reduce to 0 after 12 meters. It also comes with 40 demolition force, allowing you to take out lots of different objects on impact, just like the Ultimatum. All of this combines to make an incredible grenade that can take care of a lot of problems. And if you weren't already convinced, it can one-shot War Striders. And having such high damage with a huge outer radius means that it can actually deal a ton of damage in a large radius. It is very capable of taking out groups of enemies, and you usually don't get that with an anti-tank style grenade. However, the biggest downside to this grenade is that you can only carry 2 of them by default, which makes certain passives like the new Grenadier passive almost necessary, but other passives that come with increased throwing distance are also pretty enticing. Overall, this is an excellent grenade if you know how to use it. I personally treat it like another Ultimatum. It comes with a lot of the same properties, and it feels just as impactful against large enemies. So if you like the idea of having 2 Ultimatums, then this is the grenade for you. Next up, we have the AGM-17 Gas Mortar Sentry. The gas mortar is a pretty novel concept. Just take the utility of gas grenades and slap it onto a mortar. Sounds pretty good to me. I don't think I need to explain how mortar sentries work, so I'm just gonna jump into what makes the gas mortar different. The mortar shell itself practically deals no damage, but it will instantly gas enemies in a 7-meter radius on impact. The gas clouds will only deal 25 damage per second, but remember that gas damage has anti-tank 2 penetration, so it can confuse a ton of different enemies and buy you a lot of time when you're in a big fight. And since mortars can fire over terrain and buildings, it can slow down and confuse enemies that you don't even know about yet. This is a great tool for crowd control against pretty much everything in the game. There are some flaws though. I have noticed the gas mortar shooting at nothing sometimes. There are definitely some kind of problems with targeting enemies. It's very strange. Maybe it's just in my experience, but this thing can feel pretty unpolished in that regard. Overall, this is a very novel concept for a stratagem, and it is quite strong. It does its job well, apart from some small issues with targeting. This is off topic, but I really feel like this should have been unlocked from a major order. This feels way too standard and classic for this to be behind a Warbond, in my opinion. This feels like something that we would have unlocked in 2024 from a major order. And I hope that someday we can return to the glory days of 2024 when it comes to unlocking new stratagems in fun and creative ways. Time for page 3. And on page 3 we have the P69 Vito. The Vito is a very stylish and very useful pistol in the right hands. This is very inspired by old German pistols like the C96 Mauser and the Luger P08. The Vito deals 105 damage with medium pen, and it behaves very much like any other semi-automatic pistol for the most part. The easiest comparison to make to the Vito is the Verdict, and the Verdict definitely beats the Vito in raw damage up close, but the Vito has a few surprises. This weapon has the rounds reload keyword, meaning that you don't reload magazines, you simply put bullets into the weapon, meaning that you can never lose bullets by throwing away a magazine. The Vito actually reloads just like the autocannon does, with 2 separate clips that combine to make up a full mag. This means that partial reloads are very fast, but full reloads can take some time. The Vito also fires jet-propelled rounds, similar to the Jar 5 Dominator, and this is a big deal. This means that the Vito doesn't have any drag, so it doesn't lose any damage over distance. And when you compare that to the insanely high drag stats for other pistols and even SMGs, that is a huge selling point for the Vito. The jet-propelled rounds also give the Vito a ton of stagger, the same amount of stagger as the Liberator Concussive or the Jar 5 Dominator itself. And the Vito has a very fast projectile speed for a pistol, even faster than the Verdict. All of this combines to make the Vito a very versatile secondary, and it is excellent for quickly staggering enemies that are getting too close to you. The Vito can buy you time against medium-sized enemies like Devastators and Overseers and all kinds of bugs. That is something that you don't see a lot from any other pistol. The Vito isn't an insanely overpowered secondary, but it's really solid, and I love using it as a nice, solid backup. Next up, we have the Mud Skipper title. That's a neat title. Not much to say about it. It's kinda standard. Next up, we have the Diplomatic Handshake emote. This emote aims to recreate the Christmas Truce Memorial, a sculpture which can be found in real life in several European countries. This is a great reference to the real-world history of warfare, and it fits perfectly in a Warbond themed after the First World War. This is a 2-person emote, so it can't be used as a victory pose, but that really wouldn't make sense anyways. And finally, we have the B-Flam 80 Cremator. This is the ultimate flamethrower, the end-all be-all of flamethrowers in Helldivers 2. Backpack-fed weapons haven't been received all that well in the past, but this one blew expectations out of the water by being the best iteration of a flamethrower that we have ever seen. And if you're interested in hearing more about backpack-fed weapons, make sure to check out this video I did with my friends, Commander Puix and Findas. Link in the description. The Cremator itself is a backpack-fed flamethrower, which does have the downside of not allowing you to wear any other backpacks while you're using this weapon, but I think that the pros far outweigh the cons here, at least in my opinion. The Cremator has a much longer range than any other flamethrower in the game, allowing you to deny a much larger area, and of course, deal damage to way more enemies at once. Not only that, but the Cremator actually does do more direct damage than the other flamethrowers as well, making it better for straight DPS. Combine all that with the new flamethrower buffs, and it makes the Cremator exponentially better as a result. This weapon is a downright menace against any enemy that tries to get even a little close to you. You will melt their faces off and burn them to a crisp. And since this is a backpack-fed weapon, there is the upside of you don't have to bring a backpack stratagem if you don't want to. You can save that slot for something else that will help your team during the mission. The Cremator is a super impressive weapon that always makes me happy to use, and I absolutely recommend it to anyone that already likes fire weapons in Helldivers 2. This weapon has to be the benchmark for how we balance backpack-fed weapons going forward. It's so fun, and it's really damn good. This Warbond also released with some of the best Superstore offerings in the game, so we're going to talk about those real quick, starting with the CPR-80 Bulwark armor set. This armor set takes all of the themes of the Warbond itself and slaps a massive amount of heavy armor on top. This armor is borderline medieval, with worn steel plates fitted on top of a drab undersuit with leather straps holding everything in place. The helmet is great as usual. Helldivers is home to many great helmet designs. This one is worn and weathered, and it looks damn near ancient compared to the standards of the Helldivers, but it doesn't look out of place either. This is a heavy armor set, and it comes with the concussive padding reinforced passive, which has 2 perks. The first perk gives you 50% resistance to explosive damage, just like the other 2 passives in the Warbond itself, and the second perk gives you higher armor rating, which raises the armor to 180, making this the armor set with the second highest armor in the entire game. If you combine the high armor rating with the explosive resist, then this becomes the best armor set in the game for tanking explosives. This is very effective against the bots. They are well known for using tons of explosives, and this armor will definitely help you with that. Or you could go crazy with some massive explosives like the Ultimatum and the Giga Grenade. Overall, this is a very nice set. It looks great, and it comes with a passive that is always going to be useful if you're fighting the bots, which I spend a lot of my time on the game doing. And the last item for today is the SG-87 Sweeper. This is easily one of the best shotguns in the game, period. I have been loving it ever since it came out. I know a lot of people were excited for a classic trench gun, and this thing has definitely delivered. This is a pump-action shotgun, of course. It fires 12 pellets that deal 42 damage each, for a total of 504 damage per shot. But here's the kicker. This is all medium pen. Yeah, that's right, medium pen. This makes the Sweeper incredibly strong compared to other shotguns. But that's not all. It can slam fire, which, if you don't know, basically means that this has a very high fire rate for a pump shotgun, and it even comes with a bayonet if you really need it. All this combines to make the Sweeper into a well-rounded and very powerful weapon at close range, and you can even customize it with different optics and different chokes, tightening up the spread to deal even more damage to single targets. The only problem with the Sweeper is the small magazine capacity compared to other shotguns. The Sweeper can hold only 7 shells at a time, while other shotguns like the Punisher can carry 16, and the Halt can carry 8 in each tube. But honestly, none of that takes away from just how damn good this is in every way. It does such good damage, it feels great to use, and that medium pen really sells it. It makes me feel so bad as a Halo fan because my poor M90A shotgun is just sitting in a ditch somewhere, waiting for someone to use it over the Sweeper. In conclusion, Entrenched Division has some really great gear, like the Giga Grenade and the Cremator. and it's the only premium Warbond to introduce multiple different armor passives. The variety in this Warbond is huge, and yet it all cohesively fits well into a single theme, and I find that very impressive. Entrenched Division is a great choice if you want to pick up a new Warbond. It comes with a good amount of gear, a lot of it is very good gear, and you actually get 2 armor passives for 2 different armor sets. That's a great deal, and it really adds on to the variety. I think that if this Warbond also included the items from the Superstore, then this would be probably the best Warbond of all time. But if you have enough credits, then I would definitely recommend buying the Superstore items. The armor set is very useful for protecting you against explosive damage, and the Sweeper is one of the best shotguns in the game right now. I have no doubt that this Warbond is going to be remembered as one of the best, and I think that goes for the rest of the game right now. I think that the game itself is in a very good state at the moment. The game is actually stable, and the new content is great. Arrowhead just has to keep up the momentum and continue to deliver quality updates and awesome Warbonds like this. But what do you think about Entrenched Division? Do you like it? Do you own it? Do you even care? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I want to thank my Hell Troopers: Swickety, Archangel Shipyards, Dirty Nightmare, Findas16, ODST Exotic, John Droll, Tinfoil Freak, Melek Paragon 9231, Jack of Nothingness, Sire Melk, Thackum Dub, Kermite Official, and SES Champion of Democracy. Thank you all for continuing to support my channel. It means a lot to me. And I know I haven't uploaded in a little while. I'm sorry. I've been very busy with my family and also just hanging out in the Discord too. Go feel free to join. It's actually a lot of fun in there. But yeah, more videos coming out soon. Sorry for the wait. I'm getting back on track. And that is all I have for today. This is Grand Moff Togan of the SES Prophet of Dawn, signing off.